right, so we're going to talk about Netflix and YouTube, but before we get started today, let's do a magic trick with an iPhone. I just have a balloon. I stole some from Gareth, the ventriloquist the other night who did the little... How many of you think I can get the iPhone inside of the balloon? I wouldn't be doing this if I didn't think I could. Isn't that a good trick? Yeah. That's a good trick, isn't it? I impressed myself. And you know, if you thought it was fake, what? No, you can see the back, no problem. Of course you can see the back. This is magician. That's a good trick. Now it's inside. Well, you know what? Just for fun, hold on. Oh, there we go. I got it out. No, I popped the balloon to get it out. If you don't believe it was really inside. I did pop the balloon just to get it out. FYI, I brought another balloon. I'm going to show you how the trick works. This is how you never show a magic trick. From the back side. Watch. Ah!
That's still clever, though, even though they carry that far.
But you can actually hold it like this. You can show the back, you can show the front, and then when you want to show the trick, you just kind of peel it and you intentionally break the balloon, but it just comes off. I'll give her her phone.
That was very good.
I'll give her her phone back a bit later on, but we're going to get started today by talking about Netflix and YouTube. And it kind of relates to what we were talking about earlier in the class. Now, why I think Netflix and YouTube are very important is because Netflix and YouTube are going to be the future of how we get media and how we get content. Right now, we have the big four networks. We got Fox, we got ABC, we have NBC, we have all of those other ones like that. Now, how many of you have a Netflix account? Okay. So this is a very dangerous class for me. I'm going to let you know why it's a dangerous class for me is every time I do this class, I find a new series on Netflix that I want to watch. And then I wind up watching the new Netflix series tonight. So we're going to open Netflix first, and I wanted to show you a little bit, but I want to show you some stuff you may not know about Netflix. Now, the interesting thing about Netflix is we all know how Netflix started, right? Do you know what Netflix originally was? Netflix was originally a DVD service. It was originally a DVD rental service. And the reason that Netflix came to be is because the guy who created Netflix had an overdue DVD from Blockbuster. He had an overdue DVD from Blockbuster, and they wanted to charge him $70 in fees because he didn't return the DVD to Blockbuster. So he went ahead and he made a Netflix, he made it, and why he got so successful is he made a way to mail disc in the mail as part of what's called media mail, which is cheaper than normal mail to send. So he actually sent it as media mail, which is cheaper than normal mail to send. And then he added a streaming component as well, and Blockbuster thought, oh, we'll never fail, oh, we'll never fail, oh, we'll never fail, oh, we'll never fail. And they failed. And Netflix's business is actually changing considerably. The weird thing is you can still get DVDs by mail. And the weird thing was when they were doing DVDs by mail, do you know how they would do it? They had employees that would go to Walmart and buy all the copies of a DVD the day they came out. Because here's the thing. When you have physical media, when you have a physical DVD, all the licenses and rights for that media go along with the disc. Does that make sense? They all go along with the disc. So you don't have to worry about streaming rights in certain countries and everything like that because they all go along with the disc. Netflix's streaming service came out as a supplement to the DVD service. Now the DVD service is gone, but there's some interesting things happening with the streaming service. Yeah?
The problem is it doesn't carry the independent or foreign films.
So we're going to get there. We're going to get there. They still have the DVDs for some independent and foreign films because here's the thing to understand. DVDs don't require rights negotiations. Streaming content does. If you were to be in Canada and want to watch Back to the Future on Netflix, you would not be able to. But if you were in the United States and wanted to watch Back to the Future on Netflix, you would be able to. And that's because they have different rights in different locales. So the cool thing is if I open Netflix on my Apple TV, one of the first things it should ask me is, who's watching? Now, because why would it ask me that? On my iPhone, it's never going to ask me who's going to watch, because guess what? It's always my iPhone. But on a shared TV, it's going to say, is it Richard, Leslie, Julie, Big Mama, or kids? Obviously, it's Richard. And the thing that's proprietary about Netflix, the whole idea of Netflix is they know what you want to watch before you even know you want to watch it. So it knows that I might want to watch this, Marvel's Iron Fist, Season 1 coming March 17th, which is 3 days from now. Or I can look at new releases. To give you an idea, if you remember, HBO used to do a couple comedy specials a year. Netflix has a new original comedy special coming out every single week for the rest of this year. So they have a new comedy special with Chris Rock, Jerry Seinfeld, all these people. They just bought Jerry Seinfeld's Comedians in Cars thing. And what's interesting is you've got all of these things, and here's what you'll notice. A lot of it says Netflix, 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 Netflix. This is where things start to get very important. When Netflix makes their own content, are there any rules to where that content can be watched?
Yeah.
No.
No.
No, because they own the content. See, they're owning and creating the content, so there's no rules to where the content can be watched. If Netflix goes ahead and buys, they want to show some Disney films.
Aren't they limited by the CRTC in Canada?
They're not limited by that on stuff that they make on their own. So stuff that they make on their own, Orange is the New Black, House of Cards, all these things like that, they're not limited on. So what you'll notice is the majority of stuff it's showing me, you'll notice says Netflix, says Netflix, says Netflix, says Netflix. Why that is because that doesn't cost them anything per view. They have to pay per view. If I were to watch How I Met Your Mother, every single episode of that, they're paying when I hit play on that. They're paying a percentage of my subscription fee. So what's interesting is it used to be that only about 20% of Netflix content was non-region locked because it was made by Netflix. Now it's closer to 60% of Netflix's content is made by Netflix, to give you an idea. Or Amazon has it as well, made by Amazon. You've got all these different things here. But if I were to play that, Season 2, Episode 11, what it's going to do is it's actually going to remove a very small fraction of a cent from what I pay to Netflix and pay it to the people who made How I Met Your Mother. Does that make sense there? I mean, that's what it's going to do. But we've all probably, those of us that have Netflix have used Netflix before. And what's really cool, I'll tell you, I actually got a little bit of a heads up on this, and I did well. I was invited to a beta group to test something for Netflix about 6 months ago. I've been testing something for about 6 months. It's only been available to all of you for about 3 months, which is you can actually download stuff from Netflix now. So if you have an iPhone or an iPad or an Android device, and you open up Netflix on your device, I'm going to open it up real quick. I can actually click and I can download stuff to watch on Netflix when I don't have an internet connection, which is revolutionary in the streaming market. Netflix was a streaming company, but what happens if you get on a plane or you get on a cruise ship that doesn't have internet? What happens then? You've got nothing. So I can go in, let me give Netflix 30 seconds, so I can go in and I can look at my downloads. So these are things that I've downloaded. So I've actually got a whole bunch of stuff downloading. Now understand the things you download do have an expiration date on them. The things you download are also generally content that is actually made by Netflix. So we'll actually recommend things to download. So say available for download, and you'll notice that most of these things that are available to download will have Netflix, 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 Netflix. There's some things like I can download Jurassic Park. If I want to download, I can click on Scary Movies. I can download Jurassic Park, and I can hit download. And then it's going to download Jurassic Park on my phone. Depending on what type of internet connection I'm using, it might take a different amount of time to download it, but I can actually download it, and I can watch it directly. How much space do they usually take up? A whole TV season, which is about 10 episodes of a Netflix show, will take up close to about 5 gigs or so. So they're reasonably small, but I mean, when you're buying a device now, 32 gigs is the minimum you want to be buying in a device, and I would recommend going a little bit more. But you can keep them on. I think you can keep them on for a month because I downloaded those other ones about a month ago. So you can see my downloads, and you'll see I've got Jurassic Park that's downloading, but I have Trevor Noah Afraid of the Dark. So this Trevor Noah Afraid of the Dark, I'm going to see how long it is. I'm going to play it real quick. It is, got 23 seconds left. It's 1 hour and 7 minutes, and it is 250 megs. So a quarter of a gig for 1 hour and 7 minutes. That'll give you a little bit of a spectrum there. So you can go right into the Netflix app and you can download it, and you're right there. And what's cool is you can download a lot of the content. So about 70% of the content on Netflix is now downloadable because 60% of it is theirs. But here's the important thing. When you're viewing Netflix, you'll never have to use something like TunnelBear if you're viewing original Netflix content. So they're putting more and more content on all the time, and you'll never view anything like TunnelBear. Now, what Netflix actually did recently is they just started, this is very strange, they just started broadcasting live. Now you're going to go, this is stupid. They started broadcasting live robotics competitions all over the world. And you're like, who wants to watch robotics competitions? But the fact that they can broadcast live is the technical side. Once these contracts for the NFL and these other companies go away with Comcast and Dish Network and all of that, Netflix is working on live things right now. They don't have many live things to tape. We had this discussion the other night. They don't have many live things to tape because there's other contracts that are existing with a bunch of other companies. But imagine if you could download or you can stream live right on Netflix. Does that make sense to all of us? So any questions? Now Netflix right now, the best thing you can do, you get it for a whole family. And my whole family just shares my Netflix. My grandma has it, my sister has it, my mom has it. Everybody has it. And my 2 years of paying for Netflix are done. So now I told my sister she gets to pay for my Netflix account, to give you a little idea there, because I've been paying for it the past 2 years. The simple thing is, it's entertainment, and the coolest thing is you'll notice that everything that says Netflix, you can watch no matter where you are in the world, which is very important, because here's the important thing. Netflix owns Netflix, so they own the pipe. And Netflix has made the content, so they create the content. The main goal of pipe owners is to own content. Does that make sense there? That's why you see that your Big Ten sports can only be played with, what was it, DirecTV? DirecTV, because they bought the rights to that. If you want to watch an NFL football game on your phone, and that phone is not from Verizon, can you watch that football game? No, you can't. I mean, just to give you an idea of where it's going. When Netflix owns the content, things start to get very, very interesting. But what you'll notice is this is big, high-end content. And here's the really cool thing. If you look at a movie shot a couple of years ago, the quality on a movie taken on your iPhone is better than stuff that was in the theaters 5 or 6 years ago. And people are starting to make content on their own. Hence, even kind of what we're doing right now. They're starting to make content on their own. Now, that place is not for Netflix. It's for a Netflix competitor, which is called YouTube. Now, YouTube is trying to compete with Netflix as well, but if I open up YouTube, I've got the YouTube app on my Apple TV, and they live very comfortably right next to each other. We've got Netflix and we've got YouTube. It's going to take a second. It's going to load all my channels. Now, a lot of us know that every Monday, The Bachelor's on, right? Is it still on Mondays? Nobody watches that show anymore.
It's a show on YouTube?
No, I'm saying that's a show on ABC. The Bachelor. Does anybody still watch that? Nobody still watches that show. But every Monday, The Bachelor's on. So what YouTube does is they do things a little bit differently. And these are my actual YouTube channels, so don't judge. But we can see, every single Monday that show's on, that show's on. And what you can do is you can actually subscribe to different creators. So if you go on YouTube, something we probably never do is someone will send you a YouTube link, you'll look at it, you'll go, ha ha, that's a funny YouTube link, and you're done. But there's a subscribe button, so I'm going to show you. Let me see if I can find my channel. It should be with an I. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I. Okay. I Learn Review. I wonder what that channel is. So if I go in, I've actually got that right on there, and every time I get a new episode, if I'm subscribed to it, it will tell me, hey, there's a new episode of that. Hey, there's a new episode of that. And I think that's what's very, very interesting to go there. Let me give it a couple seconds to come up. And it's going to show you all the videos that I've uploaded here. No, so you saw, those are all the people I subscribe to. This is my personal YouTube account, but you'll see I Learn Review. You'll see all the pretty stuff. You'll see I Learn Review Live. And if I wanted to go in, I can see everything that's inside of there. And you subscribe almost like a TV channel, but it doesn't cost anything. That's what's very interesting. A lot of people think that YouTube's just for the funny cat videos, but you'll see all 3 of the classes that we've done in here so far, net neutrality, the Nintendo Switch, and the 2-step verification are all on there. And all the classes that we've done in Celebrity Central, all 9 classes that we've done in Celebrity Central are all on there.
Subscribe.
So I'll show you. We'll go to someone I haven't done. So you'll see here's all of these. And you see everything is right on there. You see even the Amazon one we did last night is already up there. So how do you subscribe? You'll find something. I actually just had it there 3 seconds ago. There's a button that'll say subscribe. It says unsubscribe right here, right now. I can do that. It doesn't matter. And I'll resubscribe just to show you because it's my channel. I can hit unsubscribe. You see I have 13 subscribers. I went live 2 days ago. So
You're getting big.
it's doing well so far. So if I have a trailer? I didn't know I have a trailer. I can hit unsubscribe, and it'll unsubscribe me from it. or I can hit subscribe again, and it'll subscribe. So you see it says subscribe. It says the same thing on your phones and everything like that. Yep.
Is YouTube free? I never use YouTube.
Is YouTube free? There is no such thing as free in this world. YouTube has ads. So YouTube will have ads. Now, as of right now, I don't have any ads on any of my videos, and I don't look to do that right now. But YouTube has ads. And what's cool is YouTube is free for you to use, and you'll see ads inside of YouTube. YouTube is owned by a tiny company you might have heard of before called Alphabet. You ever heard of Alphabet? You've probably heard of Alphabet. They're the parent company of this little company you've never heard of called Google. So what happens is YouTube is actually not part of Google anymore. It's part of Alphabet, which is the parent company of Google. It's a separate corporation inside of Google, to give you an idea. But I can go in and I can see all kinds of different things that are right on there. So what I do is I subscribe to all kinds of different stuff, theme park stuff. I subscribe to the Late Show and the Tonight Show and all those other ones. It doesn't cost me anything. Yeah?
Yeah, I subscribe to Watercolor Show.
Yeah.
People, they have subscriptions, arts. Also, I study Irish Gaelic. There's Irish Gaelic shows
yeah.
on there. So it's great.
One
I
of
get an email
my
from someone.
absolute favorite, I'll give you another one that's great. It's called Caught in Providence. You'd say, what is wrong with you? There's this guy. His name is Joe Caprio. Is anybody from near Long Island?
I am, yeah.
So this guy's from Long Island, and he's a traffic judge in Long Island. And the people come into his court, and he tapes the proceedings that happen there. And him and his brother do it, and it's absolutely amazing. It's called Caught in Providence. And I can just go in and I can watch this whenever I want to watch it. And this is a little guy, and he now has 12,000 subscribers. He just started making a channel about his traffic court. And he would ask people to sign off on having their video in the traffic court and everything like that. And he makes...
How do you find these?
How do you find these things? Here's what's very interesting. No. So you ask an interesting question. What's cool, I'm going to show you something that I would never show in a class, but I'm going to show it to you right now. How do you find these things is interesting. Someone sent you a YouTube link before, am I correct?
Yes.
I like to show people sometimes how the sausage is made. So I'm going to show you how the sausage is made because it's very interesting. So this is called YouTube Creator Studio. You'll never see this unless you upload things to YouTube, and you have to get... I probably shouldn't show this to you, but I'm going to show it to you anyway. But I can actually go in and I can see how people found my videos. So I can see where it comes from. If I go into Analytics, it will actually show me exactly how people found the video. So I can go Discovery. I'm going to show you this. I can see external suggested videos. So 29% of people found my videos from other videos, and I can even see what those other videos were. So I'll give you an example. My #1 viewed video right now has nothing to do with Apple, has nothing to do with anything. Do you remember that game console I showed, the Nintendo Switch? People have been searching Nintendo Switch review, and that's been coming up, and I've actually gotten subscribers just based on the Nintendo Switch review, as weird as that sounds. When we're talking about net neutrality, someone was just looking up net neutrality the other night, and they found net neutrality. They also found it from FCC, pretend you care about consumers and keep yourself in business. That's a video, and put that up as a recommended video right after. How you find things on YouTube is you don't find things on YouTube, YouTube finds things for you. And it's really, really interesting because I can see the analytics, I can see my audience. I'll show you my audience, it's very cool. I can do a whole thing on YouTube Analytics. You can see 50% are 65 and older. I don't have any 13 to 17-year-olds or 18 to 24-year-olds. I got 125 to 34-year-old. But this will get even more interesting as you get more subscribers. Now, you can't see this for other people's channels, but I just wanted to show you because you asked a very valid question. I can see 36% are from the US, 30% are from Canada, 27% are from the UK, 1% are from Germany, and there's someone in Belgium watching my YouTube channel already. I don't know how that even happened, to give you a little idea there. So you can go in and you can see all of that. So when you ask a question, where does it come from, I think that's an interesting answer. But I think one of the most interesting things is any screen you own in your house can access YouTube and Netflix, if that makes sense. But Netflix is for the highly produced content. YouTube you don't pay for directly, but I want to answer back on your question because this is going to make no sense to you. I actually pay for YouTube. I pay $10 a month for YouTube. You know why? Because I don't like to see ads. So I pay $10 a month, and I get no ads. Because I sit and I probably watch 2 hours of YouTube videos a day on gadgets, on tech, on different things like that. So I click and I never see the ads, if that makes sense. That's how I do it. Plus, it also gives me, do any of you pay for Apple Music? Just for fun, any of you pay for Apple Music, Spotify, anything like that? It gives me access to YouTube Music as well for $10 a month. I love it. I watch a lot of YouTube videos to give you a little perspective there. But what I want you to understand is any screen you have in your house, you can very likely access both Netflix and YouTube on that screen. And just to give you, I'll give you one, I'll take your question in a second. One great YouTube channel to subscribe to, because I can use you as an example next cruise, is iLearnReview.com. Because before I can make my channel youtube.com/iLearnReview, I need 100 subscribers before they'll let me do it.
I'll bet you get them in
So,
a week.
yeah, by the end of the week I'll have that, just to give you a little idea. But the whole idea is, without any interference, without me needing to go and contact a cable company and do all that, I can build my own little channel right here. And you say, I've already got 13 people with no advertising.
Does YouTube censor anything?
Does YouTube censor anything? So when you upload a video, you have to mark it as explicit. I'm going to get back to you in a second. You have to mark it as explicit if it's explicit. If there is something that's explicit and it's not marked as explicit, you can report it, and that person gets what's called a community guideline strike. So you're allowed to drop as many F-bombs as you want in a YouTube video, as long as you say you're going to do it. If you don't say it and someone reports it, you'll get a guideline strike. When you get 4 guideline strikes,
You're out.
they throw you out. So you get 4 strikes, and you're out, to give you an idea. And YouTube accounts, when you upload, not when you watch videos, when you upload, it's tied to a phone number. That's how they make sure you can't make 100 accounts and just keep angering people and do that, because you have to have a phone number. Yes, your question.
We have terrible reception with YouTube, though.
We have terrible reception with YouTube. So here's what we're going to do for a couple seconds. We're going to put that on the back burner for about 3 minutes, and I promise you I'll get back to it. Because here's the thing. What's fighting Netflix and YouTube is traditional TV. We agree, is traditional TV, is channel surfing and all that. So there's a new entrant in the TV market called DirecTV Now. I do not want any of you to buy this. I do not want any of you to use this. The reason I'm showing you this is because YouTube is launching their own version of this very soon called YouTube TV. It's going to have all 4 of the major networks, along with ESPN and everything else like that, for $35 a month. You'll be able to watch it on any device. And if you want to watch a show like Big Bang Theory, you hit subscribe, and it will automatically record those shows to a cloud DVR. This is not available yet. It will be available soon. And what happens is YouTube is getting the rights to do all of this. Now, there's a company that already owns the rights that took their own stab at it called DirecTV. This, oh, I hit the wrong button. This is called DirecTV Now. It hardly ever works. But I'm showing it to you because this is their stab at taking on YouTube and Netflix, the big providers. And it's actually should be. There we go. So I have, it's going to work now. I have live TV. So I pay $35 a month now for DirecTV Now. And I can scroll through A&E, AMC, American Heroes, Animal Planet. Let's let Animal Planet load up. So I can see River Monsters I have on Animal Planet. And it's probably going to tell me there's an error and it won't work. But I can pause live TV. You notice I don't have cable. I don't get Animal Planet on board the ship. I don't get hardly any.
Trailing behind.
You see the cable. Well, we don't get nearly any good channels on the ship. I actually watched CNN on the TV because we don't get normal CNN. But if it takes a second, it loads up, I should actually have River Monsters from there, or it's just going to give me an error. But the idea is that the TV is becoming separate from the pipes. And here we go. We got River Monsters, and it was working. But I can actually scroll through. Now, I can use this on my iPhone or my iPad. I'm not recommending DirecTV Now because you see how well it works, don't you? Works phenomenally. Do you see Animal Planet? You see that?
It's different from the regular direct.
It is different from the regular DirecTV because it's BYOP. And this is where we're going to go back to where you were talking about before. BYOP stands for? Bring your own pipe. Not bring your own phone, bring your own pipe. And you'll see it's just, let's leave it there. Bring your own pipe. Now you said you have YouTube at home, and YouTube works like El Poo-Poo at home. Who's your internet provider at home?
Comcast.
Comcrap. Okay, so here's I'm going to take that down. I'm going to let that play because this is actually live American Heroes TV. So you got Comcrap. Now I got a question for you. Have you ever tried to use Comcast? I know it's terrible, but I'm asking this question. Have you ever tried to use Comcast on-demand service?
Yes.
Does that work okay?
Yes.
Yes. So YouTube doesn't work great, Netflix doesn't work great, but Comcast's own on-demand service works fantastically, right?
Yeah.
Don't you want? No, it's not because you're paying for it. It's because of something called net neutrality. Now, we talked about that earlier in the cruise, but it didn't make a lot of sense at that point. So I want to go ahead and I want to revisit it. So why YouTube and Netflix doesn't work is because there is no law saying that these cable companies have to treat all content equally. And what's unfortunate is something called zero rating has just become legal. And what zero rating is that if you have Verizon, if you have Verizon, and if any of you use Verizon Fios, have you heard of Verizon Fios? If you use Verizon Fios and you stream Verizon Fios TV to your Verizon phone, how much data does it take to do that? None. But if you stream Netflix to your phone, how much data does it take? A lot. Or you stream YouTube to your phone, how much does it take? It takes a lot. The new FCC and the new FCC chairman, who was re-elected about 5 or 6 days ago, meaning he's going to be the FCC chairman for the next 5 years, believes that there should be almost no regulation on the cable and phone companies. What do you think that's going to make happen? Is it going to make Netflix and YouTube significantly worse on your cable and your phone lines in the US? Yep. Your problem that you have right now is going to affect everyone in this room in the next 2 or 3 years. It's going to be nearly impossible to get a consistent stream of Netflix or YouTube, and you're looking at me like I'm absolutely crazy. Here's the greatest thing, though. It is one of the most fantastic things that will ever happen. And some of you will see me in 3-4 years' time, and you're going to say, Richard, I don't know how you saw this when no one else in the market saw this. Imagine for a second, if Apple and Google and Facebook can't get their content over Comcast, are they just going to go out and build their own phone company and their own cable company?
Yes.
And is that phone and cable company going to work significantly better than the existing ones? And are the existing ones going to go out of business? The best thing that could have ever happened is the deregulation of that industry, because it's going to speed up a natural process. Within the next 2 or 3 years, Apple is going to own pipes. Guess what happens when Apple owns pipes? What happens to the other pipe owners? I want to put something in perspective I've done before. Apple can actually afford, actually I'm doing something very bad. I'm probably going to get a context strike for this. Let's put that away. Luckily I've been sitting in front of the TV, because you don't play something like that in the background, because I don't own that content. I didn't think about that one. We'll blur that out in post-production, but here's the thing. When Netflix can't deliver their content properly, is Netflix going to go out of business, or are they going to build their own way to distribute their content properly? Here's the thing. Netflix doesn't have the money to build their own, do they?
No. So the partner with somebody.
Well, partner's not the word I was looking for.
Client.
I don't think that Netflix and YouTube are going to be separate apps forever,
Oh.
if that makes sense. I don't see them being separate apps forever. Netflix doesn't have the money to build pipes. Now, here's one more thing I'm going to tell you. There's a lot of companies that are making a lot of really cool technology. I'm going to talk really far out. There are multiple companies around the world that have worked on and achieved true wireless charging, meaning every single one of our iPhones in this room, when we walk in the room, they would charge. There are companies that have made ways for you to do networks without wires, called a mesh network. And every single one of these companies has disappeared. And you look at me and say, where'd they go? Do you think Apple owns them? Google owns them? Facebook owns them? Everyone owns them? What's about to happen in the next 3 or 4 years is one of the most interesting times for media that will ever happen in the entire history of the world, because the content owners will begin to own the pipes. And when the content owners own the pipes, it's fantastic for consumers. I'm willing to say that by, what are we, in 2017? By 2022, you will not pay for phone service, you will not pay for TV service, you will not pay for internet service. But that phone, TV, and internet service will know so much about you that it will be so valuable for advertisers to buy your time that will pay more than the $60 a month you're paying. Does that make sense there? Your advertisers are going to be a lot more interesting in what's going on. Tomorrow night in here, we're going to be talking about smartwatches. We did a little bit of talking about the Apple Watch today because someone asked, but I'm going to talk in slightly different terms about it tomorrow. I'm going to show you something really cool, because everybody's like, okay, the Apple Watch is tiny, but this is the only part of the Apple Watch that actually does something. It's right here. I've got all kinds of different bands and different things that work along with my Apple Watch. But we're going to talk about smartwatches, and we also have, before that, at 4 o'clock tomorrow, we've got the Google Photos class. So we got the Google Photo class. Even if you've seen it before, I take a slightly different approach. So I'm going to show you all the stuff about Google Photos, as well as some things that are what are called destructive. meaning that I would never do it with a room of 20 people. I want to be able to destroy my own stuff and not destroy anything, as well as how to take your physical photos you have and make them digital. So that is an insane class, and it's at 4 o'clock tomorrow afternoon, and it works on iPhone and Android and Windows and Mac and everything, just like YouTube and Netflix do. I've got 2 or 3 minutes if anybody's got any questions on YouTube, Netflix. Questions? Yes, she's got a question.
You were saying about tunnel bear, if, like, I'm from Canada.
So here's the answer to your question. I know, because I designed this class just to get this question. Here's the thing. Can I, from Canada, turn on Tunnel Bear and watch Back to the Future in the United States saying I'm from the United States? Correct? Was that your question?
Something like that, yeah.
The answer to, well, because I said Back to the Future is only available in the US. The answer is no. Because Netflix can detect these things already, and YouTube can detect these, well, YouTube can't, because I watched Saturday Night Live the other day. Netflix can detect these things already, and unfortunately, the content providers are forcing them to detect those things. The people who own The Wizard of Oz and all that kind of stuff. But if you're accessing stuff that's unique to Netflix, which is the majority of what's on Netflix right now, you can watch it in China, you can watch it in Dubai, you can watch it anywhere in the world you want. So the goal is that Netflix is eventually going to be 100% original content. And Amazon's doing very similar things. If you know, I think La La Land won for Best Picture this year, right? No, it didn't. That was a joke. That was a joke.
The Russians hacked it.
The Russians hacked it, yes. No, Moonlight won for Best Picture. It was actually an Amazon film. And Amazon's also in the spectrum with YouTube and Netflix. The problem is Amazon's content's just not there yet. The only thing they have Moonlight, and the only other thing they really have that's big, in my opinion, is Top Gear, which was the UK TV show. If you've ever seen that, Top Gear. Oh, it's fantastic. With Richard Hammond, I've watched it for years. But that's just to give you a little idea on Netflix and YouTube. I got time for one more question if anybody else has got one.
Good.
Yep.
At what point do you make money uploading your own videos to YouTube?
At what point do you make money uploading your own videos to YouTube? So, interesting thing. When I may monetize just for fun, put a little ads on the bottom here or there, just to see some things like that. I've never gone ahead and done it before. You get little ads here and there, and like if you were to see an ad on my video, I might make 6 or 7 cents on the ad. It depends how relevant it is. It also depends, I'll tell you the answer to your question is, if you're signed into a Gmail account, when you view YouTube, it can give you better ads, if that makes sense. So the ads are worth more money. The more they know about you, the more it's worth. You can't cash out making money from YouTube until you get at least $100 in YouTube money, which is about 4,000 or 5,000 views, to give you an idea. So you got to be dealing with some real volume to turn any money in
You see
YouTube.
YouTube people with 15,000 subscribers, or some people have
Yep.
more.
Yeah, so the highest number of subscribers is 50 million. It's a guy named PewDiePie. He has 50 million subscribers. Any video he posts, he makes close to $45,000 or $50,000 on a single video when you have 50 million subscribers. Yeah, so yeah, he's called PewDiePie. He does really disturbing things, but I'm just making a statement there. Please don't go watch PewDiePie, because you're going to see all kinds of stuff. But that's it for Netflix and YouTube. I'll see you tomorrow night all about smartwatches, and the night after we're going to talk about a little bit more about Google. So I think that's an interesting one. It's called OK Google. Bye.